everyone. This is our Coral Expeditions webinar on New Zealand. I'm Louise. I'm from the sales team and I'm based here in Cairns at our head office for Coral Expeditions. As I mentioned, it'll be recorded. You're welcome to send the recording as well to your friends and your family. Send it to whoever you like. But yeah, thanks so much for taking the time to join us. We're really excited to take you on a journey with Coral Expeditions and give you a glimpse of how we explore New Zealand's stunning natural beauty. We have just released our New Zealand dates for December 2026, which is really exciting. We did have quite a long list of people that had done their expressions of interest. So that was fantastic to see. And I hope there's a few of you on here that have made a booking. And this will get you nice and excited. And if you're on the fence about whether you want to go, this will probably get you over that fence and you'll be wanting to book after this, I'm sure. Now, today we're lucky enough to be joined by our guest speaker, Wayne Hamilton. So Wayne's been with Coral Expeditions for a little bit over 2 years and he's completed our New Zealand trip a few times now. And Wayne's going to talk us through the spectacular places we're going to visit on our journey and give you an insight into what we might see and experience along the way. So welcome, Wayne, and I'll hand it over to you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks, Louise. As Louise said, my name's Wayne Hamilton and I'm an expedition leader with Coral Expeditions, and I've been with the company just over 2.5 years. And luckily enough, I got to spend Christmas in New Zealand last year and the year before. So I'm looking forward to hopefully going back there again next year. Now you can see up there our itinerary that is Southern Island only. People ask, why don't you do the North Island? Folks, if you're going to see New Zealand, the South Island is the way to do it. Okay, so this is a 10-night trip and it's from the Bluff to Wellington. Now, I know if you look at the map, it looks a little bit, we go one way, then we go the other way, but we start right down as far as we can go on mainland New Zealand at the Bluff. And then we head up towards Dusky and Doubtful Sounds and then back up and make our way along to Wellington. It's a 10-night, so we leave Christmas Eve from the Bluff. You would fly into Queenstown and then transfer by bus down to the Bluff, where you would then join the ship where we'd get cracking for a wonderful Christmas at sea. And we will be using our Coral Adventurer ship, which I've just finished a little stint on. So Christmas Day at Dusky Sounds. Now, wow, how can I start? This is an itinerary that's designed for people that you don't want to spend Christmas with. So you come and spend Christmas with us. Okay, it's just a joke. Have a look at the slides there, folks. This is where you're going to spend Christmas Day. You're going to get the opportunity to go out into Zodiacs, see some of this stunning scenery, beautiful New Zealand fur seals. We've even spotted the odd whale going past. And every now and again, we crack it for a deer running through the bush as well. The beauty of this is that we can access places that you just can't get to from the land. So already the advantage is by going in with us, you get nice and close from a different perspective to where you would if it was a land-based trip. Dusky Sounds is all about the scenery. It is just spectacular. We have nothing like it in Australia, even though we have one of the best countries in the world. Unfortunately, New Zealand tops us for the scenery. Dusky, 2 activities. If it's calm, we may even get the kayaks out for you to have a little paddle as well. And of course, notwithstanding the experience on the ship, you'll also have a beautiful lunch and then a fantastic Christmas dinner as well. If I'm on the trip, I'll give you my email address so you know what size clothes to buy me for Christmas, and we'll have a great experience. But Louise, if we can go to the next slide, please. All right, now Doubtful. People say, Dusky, Doubtful, what's the difference? Here, folks, we can actually get off, conditions permitting, because remember, we are an expeditions ship, and we can do a little bit of a hike through some of the scenic areas, the walking trails. Again, Doubtful is not very far, so we don't have a lot of time to travel between Dusky and Doubtful, and the scenery is just as spectacular. Again, the highlight here is that if the weather permits, we can get out and we can go for a walk and you can stretch your legs. I think, yeah, let's move on to the next one, Louise. Stewart Island. Okay. You can tell I'm not pressing the buttons, can't you? So Stewart Island, folks, this is a little island just off the tip of mainland New Zealand. Now, This is a bird lover's paradise. Now, I always say to people, you don't have to be a twitcher. You don't have to be a bird fanatic. But what they've done on this island is they've cleared away all the vermin, things like rats and mice, etc., and they've increased the population of native New Zealand birds here. You've got expert guides. Apart from us on the ship, we have some specialist guides on Stewart Island that will take us for a hike around the island. And just the sounds, the smells and the sights of Stewart are spectacular. And you can see there's 3 bird species down there. The little robin on the left, they are quite curious. They're quite often, they'll come and hop around our feet while we're walking along the track. And you can see the lady on the right, she's showing us one of the vermin traps, should any have escaped capture in the past. But yeah, it's vermin free. The birding and the native flora and fauna, it's just spectacular. And we spend a good half the morning there traveling around. You can see there's little walking paths everywhere. You've got the guides. It's not always wet, folks, so don't be fooled by the wet pants. I haven't had a wet trip at Christmas in New Zealand yet, so this must be an old picture when it used to rain at Christmas time, so don't worry about that. It's one of the best times to go. It's summer as well, or there's plenty of colour. It's an amazing experience, and I've now become a birder because of experiences like this. Thanks, Louise. Dunedin. Okay, so what we've done here is we've shown you the wild side of Dunedin. You know, very similar to Adelaide in the city of churches. It's a university town. It's very old and colonial, most of the buildings there. But again, we're not there so much for the city. We're mainly there for the wildlife. And if you look at that massive big bird on the right there, that's the albatross, one of the albatrosses. I don't confess to know all the different types, but they actually breed on this cliff. And as the ship leaves at the end of the day, there are hundreds and hundreds of these albatross sitting on the side of the cliff, either mating or hatching eggs. And it's quite a spectacle to see. It's quite a narrow gap as the ship leaves Dunedin Harbour. And you get a lot of the beautiful scenic cliffs like the top right-hand side picture. But my favourite are our seals. So we get New Zealand fur seals, funnily enough, in New Zealand. But you're not going to see them like you would in a zoo. You're going to see them in their natural environment. So again, Dunedin, you get an experience of the city, the old city, but you also get a wildlife experience as well. So it makes for an excellent trip. And Dunedin's on everybody's bucket list. So now we're heading back up the coast. We've come back down from Dusky and Doubtful, past Stewart, and we're on our way up towards Wellington now. Akaroa, my favourite city in New Zealand. This is almost like a quaint French village. I don't want to go into the history because there's the British fought with the French fought with the British, the Maori fought with everyone. It's very historical. It is a gorgeous little town, and we spend some time in the town. But then we also go and do, if weather permits, we do a dolphin tour. And they're not like your common bottlenose dolphins that we've all seen in all the pictures and at the zoo and aquariums. These are beautiful little, well, I call them jumping dolphins. And we get to follow the Hector's dolphins, I think they're called. But we get to follow them out, and we haven't missed yet. So there's almost a guarantee that we can get these beautiful little dolphins. So we spend time on a third-party boat following the dolphins out and learning a little bit more. And we have actually spotted in this area little blue penguins, so which we would have called fairy penguins before. We've quite often seen some of those at the entrance to Akaroa. But the town itself is just a beautiful, quaint little village, and you get to spend some time wandering around there as well. We do a walk up into the hills where we are now, and we get to learn a little bit of the Maori culture. That would take a whole new webinar to talk about the Maori culture here, but it's great to immerse yourself in that side of it as well. We continue our journey on the way up, Kaikoura. Now, look at those snow-capped mountains in the background. Folks, On a good day, you will still get a touch of snow even in summer in the back of those. Now, obviously, you look at a few of those. What are our main features here? Our marine life. So we've got our seals, we've got our dolphins, and we've got our whale. This particular whale, I'm not sure of the species, but Kaikoura is famous for sperm whale. Now, you can go anywhere in the world and you'll see southern rights or you'll see humpbacks. Very rare if you get to see a sperm whale. So we go out again on another boat at Kaikoura and we spend some time. They put a sonar down in the water looking for a sperm whale. And I've got to tell you folks, when you see that tip of a sperm whale, it's the biggest buzz you're ever going to get. Apart from, have a look at the dolphins down the bottom. You can see there's a couple there jumping out. These guys are incredible. We had a pod of about 200 last year when we were there. And what they do is they pop up out of the water and they spin backwards and fall into the water again. So they're doing somersaults, but backwards. And if you can capture that on film, it's quite a sight to behold. And then again, we've got our beautiful New Zealand fur seals. We also go for a walk here at Kaikoura, up around the peninsula, where we'll spot the seals and then down into the tiny little town around the other side. But it's all about the sperm whale this day. If we can find those, it's a must, it's a bucket list item to tick off. And we're going further up. Ships Cove and Marlborough Sounds. Okay, so this is in between North and South Island. Captain Cook played a pretty big part in this area. No, that's not his ship up in the slide, but that's similar to what he would have sailed in. Here, it's all about water activity, swimming, kayaking, but also hiking in the Marlborough Sounds. Queen Charlotte track is one of the most famous walks in the world, and we get to do a section of that. Usually 1, 2 or 3 kilometres, or we put on a massive 10-kilometre one for the people that are really keen. So the time spent up here is all about hiking and swimming and kayaking. But yeah, the hikes are some of the most stunning. And they're only, you know, again, the smaller ones, couple of hours. The 10-kilometre one we do in about 4 or 5 hours. You need to be a little bit keener walker than normal. But then we get off at this little jetty and we go and see the place where Captain Cook landed. And then there's a couple of very easy walks for people to waterfalls and stuff. It's all about outside here, just stunning area. Wellington. Okay. I hope we didn't get there too quickly and you missed most things. We obviously had the ship full sail here. So folks, Wellington is where the trip terminates. So I won't go into a lot about Wellington. It's the capital of New Zealand. It's a beautiful city, but this is where you terminate. So you would then decide if you wanted to have a couple of days. Oops. Okay, and then Wellington's done.
Sorry, didn't hit that button so quick.
Anyway, Wellington, I'm sure you're going to love it once you get off the ship, but you'll be so sad that you finished the trip. All right. So, folks, we've also put on another little one, an 8-night Bluff to Bluff, which departs the 16th of December. So that goes before the Christmas cruise, and it goes to some of the areas that we do on the larger cruise. But the only area we didn't focus on, or 2 areas, is Milford Sound and Solander Island. So if we have a little look here, again, bluff to bluff, so you start in the south. Folks, I've got to tell you, I've been lucky enough. No, back to the other slide. We're getting it all right here. Milford Sound. Folks, I have been lucky enough to travel most of the world, and I would have to say that Milford Sound is the most spectacular scenery I have ever come across. Now here, we spend a couple of days. We go up, right up to the, as far as we can push up into the channel or into the river, and you've got beautiful waterfalls. Even in the middle of summer, you've got snow-capped mountains. The photography is just sensational. Again, weather permitting, we might drop the kayaks in again, so you can go for a little paddle in the sound, but it's all about the scenery here. Okay, so we spend some time up here going through all the little nooks and crannies that we can get the ship into, or we transfer into the Explorer, remembering that we're an Australian company and we were the first to put on some tenders on our ships where we can take everybody in 1 or 2 tenders, depending on the ship, and get you closer to all these areas. Possibly, again, New Zealand, you never know with the weather, but if it's nice and hot, we might pull up really close under a waterfall and you can have yourself a bit of a shower from that beautiful ice cold water that comes down from the mountains. We've only put the one slide in, folks, but it doesn't really do justice to this area. This would be in my top 10 scenic destinations around the world, if not the top one itself. Please remember, I'm not on commission here, folks, so I'm trying to just share with you how beautiful this place is. And as I said, I'm hoping that I'll be fortunate enough to go back again next year because it just is simply beautiful. And you can see how close. There are people right up the front of the ship now without transferring into the tenders or the Zodiacs for that matter. So Milford Sounds is one of the places we visit there. And then the next one should be Solander Island. Now, you know, I always look at things like this and I go, Solander Island, it's an island, we're going to get off and we're going to explore it. Not so. Here, you're not permitted to land because it is a sanctuary for some native birds. Again, albatross. You may think that doesn't look like the other one. Apparently, there's lots of varieties of these birds, and they have a wingspan of almost 6 foot from tip to tip. Massive birds, massive wingspan. But you can see by our slides, we get up nice and close to the actual. It's an island, but it's made up of little bunches of outcrops. So we get up nice and close to those. Again, weather permitting, we'll jump into the Explorer and we'll get right up as close as we possibly can. Beautiful wildlife. We may see whale again. We may see the odd shark, but certainly bird life is the attraction, and the way these jagged rocks just pop out of the sea in the middle of nowhere. It really is a spectacular location. And top left, again, you can see we're on the main ship, how close people are. And notice they don't have a lot of warm, cold weather clothes on because it's summer in New Zealand. So this is an experience. We spend a few hours going as close to we can as the island or the islands, in and out, making sure that you get a fantastic wilderness and wildlife experience as well.
All right, that was unreal. Thank you so much, Wayne, for joining us. That gave us some pretty incredible insights into New Zealand. It's definitely one of my favourite places that I've ever been, and I literally live across the ditch, so it's pretty spectacular. So if you guys have any questions for myself or for Wayne, you can pop some questions into the chat box now. I'm just going to dive a little bit deeper into what you can expect from Coral Expeditions and what it's going to be like on board. And what we offer, and then we'll get to the questions at the end. So if you do pop them in there now, that's fantastic. But yeah, firstly, we are all inclusive. So all of our itineraries are all inclusive. You don't need to pay for anything extra once you're on board. This means your meals are included, which is chef prepared daily. Drinks during meal times as well. We've got Starlink on board all of our ships, so you've got your Wi-Fi. That's all of our excursions as well. They're all included. My favourite thing that Coral Expeditions does is have our guest lecturers and our expedition team. They all carry really great cameras and they take pictures the entire time. And then at the end, you get a Dropbox link, and sometimes you've got hundreds, sometimes thousands of images that you can go home with. So you don't have to worry about having your head stuck behind your phone or your camera. You can leave it up to the guys on board and you'll go home with some really spectacular images. They also do, our expedition leader will type up a bit of a recap on the day, and then over night time, our lovely hospitality staff will quickly run around and pop their recap on a piece of paper just into your room. And then by the end of the trip, you have a full expedition diary that I refer back to mine all the time because I have a terrible memory for places that I've been. And I refer back all the time, and it comes in very handy, and I think it's a really nice touch. Now, our knowledgeable staff and our warm Australian hospitality. On our vessels, we encourage a really natural Australian style service, and we have a very open interaction between our guests and our crew. And I think we always get really, really high scores and feedback about our crew on board. It's always the first thing people mention. And that's because I think we have such an open interaction. We have a thing that's called the open bridge policy. So if the bridge door is open, you are welcome to go up and chat to the captain whenever you like. We run engine room tours usually people that are traveling expedition style are of curious minds, and they want to know not just about the destination that we're visiting, but they want to know how our ships work and how they operate and how everything runs smoothly. So yeah, we'll do engine room tours. We've got a nice big glass window at our galley that you can stand there and you can watch your food being prepared if you like. Our guest lecturers will join you for every meal, so you can always have that chance to pick their brain. And yeah, I think that's a really nice thing to have on board, is to learn how the ship also works. Now, as Wayne mentioned, we'll be on the Coral Adventurer for this trip over to New Zealand. We started operating the Coral Adventurer back in 2019. So she has 60 staterooms and sleeps a maximum of 120 passengers. So a really nice, small, intimate vessel. There are a range of lovely indoor and outdoor dining areas that you can sit at. All the rooms are outward facing, so yeah, plenty of room to get around. You don't have to be we're not on the ship a whole lot. We try all in lots of our itineraries. So we do try and get off and do as many excursions as possible. And yeah, you don't get to spend a lot of time in your room, but that's what you're on holidays for, to go out and explore. As you can see on the back there, we've got our explorer tenders that Wayne mentioned. I'll go into that a little bit further shortly, but that's where they live, at the back of the vessel there. So here you can see the top left picture is our restaurant. We just have the one restaurant on board. There is no dress code. You can wear your shirts and your shorts and your thongs if you like. There's no suit or tie attire. You can see in that top right photo is our bridge deck lounge. So our guest lecturers and our expedition team will quite often go up there and do a lecture, and they'll give you all of this information about the destination that we're visiting, so that when we get off the ship on an excursion, it all makes sense. Everything, you completely understand everything that's going on. Also around all of our ships, we have Indigenous art galleries. They are always a really big highlight. People love walking around the ship just to have a look at the art we have pinned up. And that bottom right photo, we've got our bridge deck bar, which is a very popular spot for people to go and sit, especially for the afternoon, to have a drink as they wind down from the day. And then you can see our rooms here. So top left is our bridge deck suite. The rooms are huge, very comfortable. The bathrooms have a stunning horizon bathtub. And yeah, that's always a huge highlight for people that stay in our bridge deck suites. And then we've, of course, got our bridge deck balcony staterooms and our explorer decks balcony staterooms. Our promenade, which is our picture windows, and our coral deck, which is our porthole windows. So as I mentioned before, everyone has a view no matter what room you're in. They are all extremely spacious. They all come with an ensuite and a big wardrobe and a little recliner lounge chair as well. Now, these are my favourite thing to talk about, our explorer tenders, because they make our excursions so comfortable and so easy. So as you can see on that bottom right photo, that we've got our explorer living on the back of our larger vessel on a hydraulic platform. When we're ready to board, it gets lowered to our back deck. And as you can see in that top right photo, people are just boarding via a ramp. It is really simple. There's no one trying to throw a leg over or balance their way to get in. It is really, really easy. Once everyone's seated, they're in chairs as well that have the back, so you're not in those Zodiacs with the bench seats all day. They've got the proper backs on there for support. Once everyone's seated, it gets lowered down into the water, and it takes about 5 minutes tops to get into the water and off onto your excursion. They do seat our ship's capacity as well. So on board our Coral Adventurer, we've got 2 of these explorer tenders, and that means we get to all go out together and all have the exact same experience. So it means we all get to go out and come back together, and we have the same stories to talk about at dinner. And if we do want to split the excursions up and have an easier option or a harder option, there's plenty of space to separate everyone on board as well. And then you can see in that top left photo, when we get to our excursions, or what we call wet landings or beach landings, the nose of the explorer just folds down into a ramp, and our guides will just gently guide you off. So it's really, really easy to get to where we need to go. There's also a toilet on board for remote convenience. We also have clears that come down the side. So especially in New Zealand, if we do run into some wind or some rain, we can pull the clear blinds down and we can still see exactly where we're going, all the wildlife. We can see everything, but we are comfortable. We are nice and warm. My trip that I did, I went from Fremantle to Adelaide, so that's Southern Ocean. And there was definitely days where it was chilly, and we put those blinds down and it made for a really comfortable trip. It also means that we can fit little eskies on there with some waters and towels, and yet plenty of room for kayaks. So yeah, these just make our excursions super, super easy and relaxed and yeah, comfortable for everyone. Now, we do still have our zodiacs. The zodiacs are really fun. It's a bit exhilarating to get to a zodiac. But yeah, as Wayne said, you know, if you get to Milford Sounds and weather permitting and you're not scared of icy cold water, we can get you under the waterfall for a quick splash. But yeah, we do use these just to get that little bit closer to nature if needed. So finally, Coral Expeditions has operated for over 40 years now, and we're an Australian pioneering cruise line, and we have always operated with a single purpose, and that's to take small groups of like-minded explorers to remote places with our expert guidance and our warm Australian hospitality. And we do really look forward to having you on board with us. If you want to find out any more about Coral Expeditions and what we do, you can head to our YouTube channel. We've got lots on there that will go in the day of, like there's ship tours on there, a day in the life. You can go and have a look at all of it. But that brings us to the end of our presentation today. But if you've got any questions, as I mentioned, please pop them in the chat box. I've already got Malcolm here who said, for the 8-day cruise, how long do you spend on Stewart Island? The same as for the 10-day cruise. Let's see, is Wayne still online? I might have just stepped away. That's okay. Yes, I'm pretty sure we spend the day. Oh, Wayne's back.
Here I am, sorry.
That's okay.
I disappeared for a moment. What you'll find is that, and it was remiss of me to mention, you spend the morning on Stewart Island looking at the bird life. Then at the afternoon, you head across to the mainland, to the township of Oban, and you do a little walk around through the township. So it ends up being a full day excursion, morning on Stewart Island, afternoon on the mainland of Oban.
Perfect. Thanks, Wayne. Hope that answers your question, Malcolm. But that's all the questions we have for today. That's the only one we got, so that's fantastic. That means Wayne did a really good job at explaining what the itinerary is going to be like. Thank you so much, Wayne. We really appreciate you joining us today. And yet, as I mentioned, if anyone has any more questions, please reach out to your travel agent or to our reservations team. Jump on our website and have a read of what you can expect. But thank you everyone for joining, and a recording will be sent around in the next 24 hours. Bye everyone.